Hi there. Hi there. Hello, it's the Way Show. A very good evening to you, and it's nice to be with you again on this program. Sorry about coming to you a bit late. It was just due to some technical issues we had to resolve. Thankfully, you can hear me clearly, loud and clear, and obviously you can see me wherever you are today. Um, what an eventful week last week was, especially with regards to the United States of America's presidential election. Not just a presidential election, but we had the election to Senate and obviously Congress. It was at the end of the day. Finally, we had the counts done, and it was called. And we've got a new president-elect, Joe Biden, and obviously with the vice president-elect Kamala Harris, which was met with quite a lot of optimism. I mean, we had the mayor of Paris saying to Americans and indeed to the American nation, welcome back. We're going to talk more about this. So let me just derail. It's the Way Show. My name is Wale, and it's nice to be with you again. And please do subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to us. And follow us on our Instagram page too. It's the Way Show. That's the.way.show weekly on Instagram. And watch all our previous editions on YouTube. So let's just keep the ball rolling. I've got someone with joining me today, all the way from the United States of America, from the city of New Jersey, who obviously witnessed firsthand the drama that unfolded in the United States this week, culminating in President-elect Joe Biden being declared the winner of the United States election 2020. So I've got Chris Tunde Odediran, who is a journalist, a policy commentator, and also an IT expert all the way from the United States of America. Tunde, thank you for joining us. I know it was short notice to drag you out on this beautiful Sunday, but it's so nice of you to join us. Thank you for joining us on the show.
It's my pleasure. Glad to be here.
Okay, thank you, Tunde. So today, I mean, the eyes of the world was focused on the United States of America for since November the 3rd, and finally, about a couple of days, we heard that President-elect Biden was elected, as the new president of the United States of America, as 46th president of the United States of America. What's the mood like that in America, especially zooming on where you are at the moment? How are the Americans taking this?
Well, I think the mood, not just in the US, is that of elation. All around the world, I had friends who didn't go to bed on time, the UK, Nigeria. But particularly about in the US, as soon as the election was called for Joe Biden, people trooped out on the streets. Actually, I was watching one on CNN last night where Africans in Brooklyn were beating African drums,
Wow.
singing African songs in front of the Trump Tower. That is a statement. And it's not just Africans, it's all Americans, people of all races, people of all colors, people of all creed and religion. Everybody just feels there is a relief. A lot of church sermons today were about the election, about the need for love, for peace, for unity. And I think that's the mood. And it's most likely going to be sustained for the next few weeks.
Hmm. The mood has changed obviously in America and elsewhere in the world. I mean, I just mentioned that the mayor of Paris said to the Americans, "Welcome back." It was like you guys have been in the wilderness for like the past 4 years, and suddenly you're back into where you should be, really. Um, sum up President Donald Trump's, I'm tempted to say regime now, uh, over the past 4 years. I mean, there's been so much controversy with regards to President Trump's presidency, obviously culminating in so many words said about him, about some nations, and the most pertinent one, and probably the most recent one, was his handling of the coronavirus. So, in your own words, if you can you sum up the 4 years of the Trump presidency?
It's been 4 years of excruciating torment,
Mm.
psychologically and also in terms of your experience on the streets. Um, there has been a lot of pent up frustration. Uh, People just felt everything was locked up within them and they were so helpless. But we've been waiting for this day. You could see in the number of people who went out to vote, how long people have been voting. Actually, I cast my vote about 4 weeks ago. The moment the ballots were mailed in, my daughter, who is just 22, was the one who told everyone, hey, make sure you finish voting tonight. By the next day, we didn't put it in the mailbox. She actually drove it to the county office. That's the mood. The last 4 years, um, I knew it was going to be like this, but I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it's been. I thought no matter what, a president wouldn't do certain things. A president wouldn't openly uh, praise racists. A president wouldn't openly say that racists should stand by and stand up. A president wouldn't say when looting starts, then shooting begins. Those are things that are way out of anyone's conception. No one could have thought all this would happen. I'm just talking specifically about black people now. But what about so many other things? Climate change, the things that were happening, even the response to some natural disasters in places like Puerto Rico, in Texas, the response to COVID 19, which actually I've been watching this for the past few months. Every day, at least 80,000 Americans are infected. Every day, at least 1,000 Americans die. Just think about it. America has lost 250,000 souls to coronavirus, more than the people who died in many of America's great wars. When you think about that and you see the response of the government, the statements of the president, the reckless attitude, such that even when he was hospitalized, he was still driving on the streets. It's like, think about a patient discharging himself temporarily to parade the streets. It just kind of reduces the seriousness with which the government should be tackling something like this. Think about the government officials, public officials working to stop this pandemic being called idiots by the president. Think about a president who doesn't really care about anything except himself. It's the 4 years have always been like 20 years. It's been 4 years of pain, 4 years of frustration. But the bigger the pain, the bigger the relief as well. That's why a lot of people feel relieved right now.
What do you say to people who, and especially I just want to zero into people in Africa and indeed Nigeria who seem to be diehard Trump supporters, who don't see anything really bad in all the things you mentioned, um, calling countries names, openly supporting racists, not doing so much with regards to COVID 19, climate change denial. And what do you say to those people? I mean, I mean, in Nigeria, quite recently, especially during this election, we require a lot of support for Trump. People saying he's probably um, God's answer to whatever the problem of United States is. What do you say to them? I mean, you are there, you've witnessed this firsthand, everything has happened, and they're there over in Nigeria. Probably some of them, and I dare say, with no apologies, are probably not seen Murtala Mohammed Airport before, but tend to believe that Trump is it. What do you say to them?
Actually, I've been engaging such people for a few months. I met some of them are some of the brightest people that I know, some of the most educated people that I know. Um, some of them are family members, classmates, friends, friends of friends. For those, there are two classes of such people. There are those who have seen the outside world and who still believe in Trumpism. And there are those who are in Nigeria who just believe in Trump for whatever reason. For our address first, those who are in Nigeria. And I've seen some kind of common denominator among these groups of people, and it is religion. It is not just religion, it's actually about gay rights and homosexuality. I think most of them are fed into these false narratives from evangelical Christian leaders in the United States. I'm an evangelical myself, and but I do know that there is a particular gang who are very close to President Trump, who have had plans even before President Trump, who were made promises by President Trump, and to whom President Trump has delivered a lot of things. So they have this campaign which has been going on for years. Um, the first thing they did was to attack President Obama and make him look like the Antichrist. They made Africans believe that Obama was the one who made homosexualism and gay rights acceptable in the United States, and that Trump was coming, and Trump came to reverse all of that. So there is a deep root in faith in why a lot of people in Nigeria would support Trump. Here is what they don't know, and I do have some videos that I sent to them that Trump actually has always been for gay rights. In fact, Lara Trump, Trump's daughter, about a month ago, was in Florida telling gay rights LGBTQ activists that his her father had always been for them. Trump himself has a lot of statements, and I will ask them. I always ask them, Google it. Google Trump's statement in support of gay rights. So they've been completely misled. It's just misinformation. They fell for it. They fell for some campaign to kind of get, we are very religious in Africa, especially in Nigeria. So a lot of people would buy everything that they don't know the roots. They don't investigate. They don't try to figure out if it's true or not. Once they see the video or they see the content, they just buy it as a gospel truth. That's one class, and I think they should just go and educate themselves. That's the answer that I have for such people. But for those who have seen the outside world, and I do have a number of people who are like that as well, I think it's just a lack of judgment, a lack of priority. What is their priority? Would you rather see someone who is trying to move against people of your color because you believe in something like abortion rights? Even if you're going to base this entirely on the scriptures, people need to search the scriptures and search their souls. The scriptures talks more about justice and righteousness more than any of these other issues that people have expanded. And people talk about things that are so immaterial, things that are so flimsy, things that are so personal. You know, A president should protect the rights of all citizens, regardless of their race or their color. And the job of the president is not the pastor of a country. And that's what a lot of people are getting wrong. They think that Obama's job was to be a pastor for the United States. No, that wasn't why he was elected. His job was to protect the rights of every citizen, whatever they are. And people need to understand that very clearly. And I think people began to understand that when Trump became the president, because the same people began to protect Trump by saying, well, he is the president, he is not a pastor. You know, the kind of leeway they were willing to give to Trump, they are not willing to give the same leeway to Obama or to any Democrat. They will accept Trump for anything that he is, but they will not accept Obama for what he is. We knew who Obama's pastor was. We know Obama's church. Does anyone knows Trump's pastor? Does anyone knows Trump's church? When was the last time Trump went to church? Biden goes to church every Sunday. These are questions that people are not asking. They just bought into bigotry.
Oh, well, that was really very educating, and I hope our viewers in Nigeria actually listen to all that, and actually follow that. I mean, it got to a point where, people were starting to be, especially online, especially when you look at some people where you think, oh my God, is that person really saying that? But I do hope what you've said today will put to bed whatever they think about the new Biden presidency. Personally, what do you think we should expect from President-elect Biden and the Vice President elect Harris? We've always known Biden to be a compromiser. Some people are saying already that as soon as President Biden gets in, the first thing he should do is to probe President Trump. Do you buy into this idea, or should it be, you know what, we've got a country to heal, we've got a country to unite, let's just do that?
I would say that if I had to advise President Biden, I would say let justice take its course. I know there are already cases waiting in the Southern District of New York, branch of the United States Department of Justice. I know that Trump, at a one weekend about 3 months ago, tried to fire the head of that district. He refused to go. Eventually, there was some kind of silent settlement allowing the deputy to take over. I know they're waiting for Trump. They're waiting for his daughter. They're waiting for his son-in-law. They're waiting for his sons. I know that some guys who were working with Giuliani, the Ukrainian and Russian guys, they've spilled a lot of things to the U.S. Department of Justice. I know that there are now established cases of tax evasion, violation of the electoral law in New York, and so many other things waiting for him. Biden shouldn't get involved in that. People didn't elect Biden to go after Trump. But I know that the Justice Department, when it's well run, after Bill Barr, the current Attorney General, must have left, they will do what they need to do. They will do the right thing. Biden doesn't need to intervene in that. What Americans are hoping for now is first to reestablish America's place in the Committee of Nations, America's prestige, America's reputation, which has been badly hammered. I'm very sure you must have seen videos on WhatsApp of food being distributed to people in the red states by President Trump. And people were saying, this looks very much like Nigeria, where they had this politics of stomach infrastructure. Adedibu kind of politics. Where you give people food. America just became a banana republic. People are looking first for a reversal of all of those. People are looking for Biden to tackle the issues of racial profiling, the issues of civil rights. People are looking for Biden to bring unity and to safeguard the Affordable Care Act, which a lot of people call Obamacare.
Okay.
Trump has tried for 4 years to dismantle, but he was unsuccessful in doing that. People are looking for Biden to reverse a lot of executive orders concerning immigration. Just before the election, the Trump administration was planning to ban a lot of countries, most of them African countries, from having their students come to the US for 4 year degrees. A lot of Nigerian and African kids would not be able to come to the US for 4 year degree courses. If President Trump's guy, Steve Miller, who has been a very young guy, who has been hatching out all kinds of plans against Africans and other people in the Middle East and some other parts of the world that are not Europe. I think people are looking for all those to be addressed, all the bans on immigrants, on Muslims, and things like that. All the reduction in support for people who are struggling, especially with COVID-19. 90% of African American business owners who applied for support through the COVID-19 palliative were denied. 40% of African American small businesses are folded up in the last 6 months because of COVID-19. Trump is not giving them any support. People are hoping that the kind of disadvantage to which blacks and a lot of minorities and the less privileged are being thrown through COVID-19 or the reckless reaction to COVID-19 by the Trump administration will be reversed by Biden. So people are looking for, social and economic justice. I don't think people are so focused on Trump's personal problems, which those will address themselves in the course of time.
Before we even get to January 20th, 2021, then there's the issue of Trump himself conceding to having lost the election, which he hasn't done. And I know a few days ago, I watched an interview with Trump's niece, Mary Trump, that said, well, my uncle would not concede. He will not go just like that. Instead of him conceding, he'll probably drag the country down with himself. How presidential is that? I mean, we've had the only surviving Republican former president, George Bush, has called on President-elect Biden to congratulate him, even though he said, well, Trump has got every right to pursue the legal options. But why is he not conceding? I know that conceding, calling President-elect Biden is not part of the US Constitution, but why is he making it difficult for himself?
Well, you have to understand the Trump mentality to know why he's doing this. And we shouldn't be surprised. He already said he wasn't going to. He said the only way he was going to lose this election was if it was rigged against him, and that we may not know the result of the election for several months. One thing he didn't get was that the American democratic structure is so well set up that the presidency can actually leave the president behind. And what's happening right now is that the presidency is beginning to leave Trump behind. World presidents are beginning to congratulate Biden. Mitt Romney, the former flag bearer who contested against Obama, has already congratulated Biden. The Secret Service immediately began to provide services to Biden and his family. The presidency is already moving away from President Trump. And in the coming weeks, if he doesn't concede, he's going to find out very quickly that he has become a lame duck and that he doesn't have any power, because all the conditions that give you power are going to be dwindling. They are going to be whittling away from him. I said that you have to understand Trump's thinking to know why he wouldn't concede. For Trump to concede means that Trump is a loser. For Trump to concede gives him that label. That label is never going to accept. You mentioned Mary Trump. I read a book, Too Much and Never Enough. And that book sets the background in understanding some of the reasons why Trump is who he is. Trump is who he is because he has always felt undervalued, underappreciated, and he needed to prove that he was good. And if you go into his career, you will see that over the years, especially when he was doing the TV show, it was always about proving that he was good. And anything that would prove that he wasn't good was, I don't know if you watched the first presidential debate. When Biden referenced being smart, the way Trump reacted was a little bit abnormal. He doesn't want people to say that he's not smart. He doesn't want to be labeled as a loser. He would rather go away with him saying, I was cheated. That way, he would continue to maintain that I wasn't a loser. So he needs to prove that he's not a loser. That's why he's not going to concede. He would go away, no doubt about that, because the structures will just make him go away. But don't expect Trump to concede. In fact, Trump can just abandon the job. He might just stop acting as president.
And is that really possible within the U.S. Constitution?
It's possible. He might not do a formal handover, but the Constitution doesn't say he needs to do a handover.
Yeah.
You know, he will just move out to the White House and buy the blue seat. Yeah, he may not do the handover. He may not attend the ceremony. All these things that we thought were impossible, we've seen over the last 4 years how possible they were. We're not dealing with a normal human being. Someone said last night on a TV program that we are dealing with a child in the White House.
Wow. That's strong. Today we're going to go on a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk into the other side of Trump. Trump had 70 million voters who voted for him. I mean, 70 million, that's quite a lot. So we're going to talk about the 70 million that voted for Trump. Where we just go on this short break and we'll be back as soon as possible. Hello, welcome back to the show. My name is still Wale, and I've got Chris Tunde Odediran, all the way from United States of America. We've been talking today. Today is a journalist, political commentator, and also an IT expert. We've been talking so far on the Trump administration, the new president-elect, Joe Biden, and obviously we'll be talking more about, especially the record breaker. We're talking about Kamala Harris. But before we do that, before we went on the break, I was asking Tony about the issue of that 70 million odd people that voted for Trump in the United States. He must be doing something right for them to vote, for 70 million people to vote for, despite all you've said.
Yes, he was doing some things for them. Not much. Let's if to understand Trump's supporters, let's try to understand Trump's slogan, "Make America Great Again." Because once we understand what that means, we will understand why people support him. Make America Great Again says take America back to where it was before civil rights. Take America back to the 1940s, 1930s, 1950s. Then let's ask ourselves, what was America like in those days? Those were the days of segregation, the days of Jim Crow laws. Those were the days when blacks didn't have any rights. Those were the days that blacks could not share the same restrooms with white people. Those were the days when blacks couldn't get good jobs. Those were the days of sharecropping. Those were the days of oppression. Those are the days, the memorable days that Trump is trying to return. That is what make America great again means. That is what a lot of people who want to be politically correct can't say. We all know what it means. Those were the days of lynching. That's what he wants. Now, come to think of it, why is it that a lot of educated white people are not Trump supporters? Because they don't need Trump. They don't need those days anymore. They are already doing well.
But sorry to cut you short, but again, there's some black people, black American people, African American people who are staunch Trump supporters, even in the United States. So what do you say to those ones? Are they ignorant, or what do you say to those guys?
They lack judgment. Some of them are just hungry people. They are rich, but they are hungry. Like Kanye West, like Ice Cube. Some of them are just very hungry people on the street. And Trump just goes there and gives them food, like he was distributing free food in red state. They will support him. But that's not all, though. I quite understand why some black people, some of them are Christians, and for the same reasons that some Christians in Africa would support Trump because of the evangelical narratives. There are a lot of, Africans, blacks are generally religious wherever you find blacks anywhere in the world. The highest concentration of religious people is within the black people in terms of per capita. So there are a lot of, Pentecostals and evangelicals among the black population who would not support anyone but Trump, just because that is the direction of the evangelical movement is towards Trump. So we cannot completely ignore all of that. But what's the population of? I think Trump actually did a lot better this time around. He had about 18% of white, black male voters, and about 7 to 8% of black female voters, which was better than before. But it comes down to this: it's judgment. You know what? One of the top black politicians in the U.S., House of Rep Congressman James Clyburn of South Carolina, said, and that was a statement. This was the man who actually made Biden president, if you go back to it, because Biden was already losing in the primaries. But when he got to South Carolina, Congressman James Clyburn stood up for Biden. You know what he said? He said, "We know Biden, and Biden knows us." That's a very deep statement. We know Biden, and Biden knows us. Can you say the same of Trump? It means Biden is one of us. Biden knows our problems. Biden will fight for us. You couldn't say the same of Trump. And anyone who votes for Trump or who welcomes Trump's message, they're actually voting against themselves. But it's always been known through history that a lot of poor people vote against their own interest.
Wow, that's brilliant. So let's go talk about Kamala Harris, the vice president elect. A record breaker she is. What does she bring to the Biden presidency? She's very vibrant. She's much younger anyway. Obviously, she probably would. She was one of those that actually ran on the ticket of the Democrats before she she stepped down, and it obviously got picked by President-elect Biden. So, what will she bring to this Biden presidency?
First, she'll bring black people to the presidency. Without black people, there will not be any Biden presidency. She will bring immigrants' interest to the presidency because both of her parents were immigrants. She would bring criminal justice reforms, one of the most yearning needs of the United States, to the presidency, because as Attorney General of the largest state in the US, California, she had tackled this. In fact, a lot of people say that the strongest connection between Biden and Kamala Harris was that Biden's first son, who is now dead, was friends with Kamala, because when Kamala was Attorney General of California, Joe Biden was Attorney General of Delaware. And they had worked together on certain issues. So people expect that Kamala Harris's biggest task is actually going to be criminal justice reform, which America needs, in my view, more than anything else today, because that is the way when America will begin to take its place back. America will begin to have the right standing in the world if issues of discrimination, of social profiling, of injustice, if all these issues are dealt. This is what people say is America's evils. These are evils that were carried over from slavery, evils that never went away. Policing, the things that led to the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. These were not just isolated issues. They've been going on. They actually happened throughout Obama's administration as well. They were never dealt with. They were never tackled. In the 1960s, around 1967, when America was thrown into racial protests, and cities like Detroit and Newark, New Jersey were seriously affected, and white people started moving to the suburbs. The commission that was set up at that time came out with a recommendation that there are serious issues of injustice that America must confront. America never confronted those issues. If those have been dealt with in 1967, instead of America going into war in Vietnam and putting all those issues under the rug, things would have been a lot different today. Without America dealing with social justice, discrimination, and all of that, America will never live to its promise. America's constitution is always going to be in question if it doesn't give equal opportunities to all citizens. And I believe that is going to be the biggest task for Kamala Harris to tackle as vice president. And she does have the experience. She's positioned for that. She's qualified to tackle that. And that's why the Trump people are not comfortable with her.
And let's just look at the relations between United States and obviously Africa, and obviously zeroing into their own country, Nigeria. The relationship between President Buhari and President Trump has been known to be practically non-existent. Forget the fact that Buhari went to White House and all the shenanigans that followed that trip that time. Is a Biden presidency going to be more favorable to Africa and especially Nigeria? And is there going to be a change, so to say, in the relationship between Nigeria and the United States? Don't forget that quite recently, after the during the NSAS protests in Nigeria, especially after what happened in Lekki, Tollgate happened, the likes of President-elect Biden and Hillary Clinton on their Twitter called on the Nigerian government to act and do something about it. So do you see there being a frosty relationship between the two heads of states, or would there be an improvement going forward?
Well, let's start from the NSAS protest. Did President Trump pay attention to what was going on in Nigeria. Not at all. What kind of attention has President Trump paid to Africa or Nigeria over the last 4 years? The closest thing Trump did for Africa was to send a wife to visit some East African countries on what I would just consider philanthropic trip. Trump never set his feet on the African soil. Trump never said anything good. In fact, he called Africa one of those, countries with the expletive that you can really use. Trump never paid attention to Africa. And all his diplomatic moves have been antagonistic to Africa in terms of immigration. That is why China is having a free reign all over Africa, because the US completely disengaged. America first. That's Trump's policy. It means let's deal with America, all the other nations, well, too bad. So what it cannot, I will say that it cannot be worse than the last 4 years. Maybe that's not good enough, but if it's not worse than the last 4 years, if it's slightly better, that is still something for Africa. I know that Biden has bigger issues to tackle. Africa will probably not be his number one priority. He has climate issues, returning to the Paris Accord. He has the Iran nuclear deal to get back into. He has the NATO alliance that's been crumbling. Trump has been withdrawing American troops from Europe, from Germany, and all of the other stuff. Biden has to deal with all of those first. But in terms of what Biden brings to Africa, the fact that Biden even paid attention in the middle of a very busy campaign to what was going on in Nigeria and released a statement almost immediately tells you that he pays attention to Africa. Mind you, Biden is very savvy with international diplomacy. In fact, he was the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee when he was in the Senate. And when he was vice president to President Obama, he pretty much handled most of the foreign relations aspect of the presidency. So he knows what's going on in Africa and other places. Obama policies can be expected to be implemented by President-elect Biden. President Obama had a policy to prosper Africa and not to continue to give aid to Africa. In fact, they call it trade, not aid policy. Obama's interest was not to keep giving aid to Africa. And that's what the US has been doing for years, for decades. And Obama changed that. I said, no, we want to invest. We want to do investments in Africa. We want to do business in Africa. We don't want to just keep giving people crumbs from the master's table. And we want to challenge China. So expect that China is going to have a challenge. Expect that there's going to be trade and investment. Expect there is going to be active engagement with African leaders on issues of security, terrorism, trade, climate change, eradication of diseases. Expect that there is going to be a voice for the promotion of democracy in Africa. Those are the things that I expect. Biden is not just going to continue from where Obama stopped. He's going to come up with new ideas, especially to try to challenge the spread of Chinese influence on the continent of Africa.
And I'm glad you brought the issue of Obama Biden. And there's been talks now going about and rumors that Biden presidency is going to be more like an Obama third term, an extension of Obama. Can Biden be his own man? I mean, well, Obama has been very helpful to his campaign. And obviously, there have been talks about quite a lot of Obamaists are going to be included in Biden's cabinet. So will he be his own man? Is it possible for Biden to be his own man or be an extension? Or is it going to be an extension of Obama's reign as president, so as it is?
I think we need to look at this from a very critical standpoint. What has happened over the last 4 years was an erosion of policies that took Democrats a number of years to achieve, like Obamacare, for instance, the Affordable Care Act. Biden's if Biden begins to roll back, he has to. He doesn't have a choice. That's the mandate that Biden has to roll back all those bad policies. And as he begins to roll them back, what he will be doing in effect is to roll in a lot of democratic policies, not just Obama's policies. Some of them are Clinton policies. They're just democratic policies. So I listened to Biden's speech last night, and he pretty much said what he was going to do. He said different policies are different, and different presidencies at important and critical times in the life of the United States came up with big strategies and ideas. He talked about Roosevelt, he talked about Johnson, he talked about Kennedy, and he talked about Obama. And Obama said, yes, we can. Biden is not going to separate himself so much from Obama. You know what? In the New York Times of today, it was reported that when Biden decided to contest 2 years ago, he said America has lost its soul, and his job is to fix America's soul. Biden is not coming to make very big radical changes. Biden is coming to restore America's trust in democracy, to restore hope, to restore justice and things like that. So if all those align with what Obama was trying to achieve, it doesn't make him someone who is just coming to implement Obama's policies. He's just coming to fix. Biden is a fixer. He's 78 years old. Biden is coming to fix. And that's why Republicans are so afraid, because they feel like Biden might just, in 4 years' time, decide, I'm not contesting again. Let Kamala pick from where I start.
And that's my next question, because how visible, how possible is that? Can that be? I mean, looking at it from that critical view, like you just said, Biden's 78, age is not on his side. He stays 4 years, and if Kamala is very active and is seen as very active and seen as probably one of the staunch brain behind the Biden presidency, she might be right to go for a run for it in 2024. Do you see America as ripe to have a black female president? I mean, Hillary Clinton tried, failed, but could happen in 2024 if Biden says, you know what, I've done what I've come to do. I've united the nation, brought back democracy back to the soul of the United States. All right, my job is done. My shift is done. One Kamala, it's your turn. Is that possible?
It is possible, I would say. Anything is possible. Remember Obama's slogan that yes, we can. When Obama was coming out let me ask you, 14, 15 years ago, would you have believed that America could produce a black president in our generation?
No way, no.
All things are possible for those who try. Kamala Harris has already broken a lot of restrictions. She has broken barriers as the first black attorney general in the state of California. California is as big as Nigeria. California's economy is probably about 50 times the economy of Nigeria. She was the attorney general. She did it. She was the second black female senator in the United States history. Now she is going to be the first black minority president in the United States. So she is used to breaking barriers. It is possible. I also think it's possible because Joe Biden is not a power-hungry, overly ambitious guy. Because Joe Biden could have contested against Clinton. Most vice presidents would contest the presidency. But Biden didn't contest against Clinton. Why? He didn't really think it was really that important, or it wasn't that ambitious to say, I must become the president. Even though he had tried to be president twice before, he just let it go. And he had reasons. There are reasons why he came back, and the reason is because of President Trump. said, America has lost its soul. I need to do something to fix it. So Biden, who had seen the opportunity and let it go once, can, after 4 years, say, I think my job is done. Let the younger generation pick it from here. And if that happens, I'm very sure that Kamala already has presidential. I mean, she was going to be the president. She didn't start by trying to be vice president. She started by trying to be the president. And she's quite qualified. Who is no more qualified than Donald Trump to start with?
Yes.
If you can be president, who can be president?
Okay, thanks. And then we're going on a short break. And after the short break, we're going to bring somebody else to join the conversation, who obviously is in one of the areas that actually voted Trump. But when he comes, he would let us know exactly. So there's also a Nigerian diaspora in the United States, but Texas voted Trump. So we'll go on the short break, bring it in, and maybe you will be able to tell us why that was so. Why Texas went red. We'll just go on a short break and be back soon. Yeah, thank you for joining us, for rejoining us again for when on the short break. I just remind you that from tomorrow we are starting something really interesting. Not on the Way Show, but we've got another program coming out of the stables of the Way Show. It's called the Football Show Mondays. So it's tomorrow, starting tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Please, if you can, join us. We'll be obviously, we'll be discussing quite a lot of football. It's just going to be a football show. So please, 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. UK time. Join us for the football show. Before we went on break, I said I was going to be bringing someone who is no longer a guest to this show. He's a regular to this show. So a brother of ours, Bayo Nlearashi. Bayo, thank you for joining us. We've been speaking with Chris Tunde Odediran in New Jersey. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tunde, in New Jersey, and we're talking about the election. And Bayo Nle is in Dallas.
Texas, Houston, actually, Houston,
Texas. Bayo Nle is from the place that voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. And so, Bayo Nle, what happened in Texas? And we do have quite a large Nigerian community in your area where you live. So how come it went red and not blue?
Well, that's a very good question. Thank you for having me. And, good evening, Mr. Chris Tunde. It's nice hearing from you guys. Well, a lot of people don't know this, but I'm sure he knows this because I'm glad he's in the same country just like me. Texas has always been a Republican state, always. But what happened is that a lot of people don't really know the true picture as regard that election. There are a few counties here in Texas, but in Houston itself, we have Harris County, which is the biggest. And at the night of the event, 63% of Houston voted for Biden. So Biden won it in a landslide way. Like there was no doubt about it. He won this city of Houston in its entirety. But the state of Texas, you can't imagine how big it is. I heard him talking about how huge California is.
Yeah.
It's you just look at the map of the United States and you have an idea what Texas looks like as well. And so there are some folks out here that are born Republicans. They don't care who is in power. It could be another family of the ex-German dictator. They will always vote red. They don't care. Donald Trump, whoever it is, and that was what happened on election night. If you observe before the election day, Joe Biden was leading the state of Texas. But on November 3rd, when they came out, because they don't believe in all this mail-in ballot, which eventually did hurt Trump, right? Because he told them, I don't believe in that thing, it's not going to happen, which is what gave Biden like the lead in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, and now we're still looking at Georgia and see what's going to come out of there. So that was what happened as regard Texas. In Midwest Texas, there's nothing you want to tell them. Those ones that make money on the rig, oil rig, they always Republicans. So that was what happened, really. No surprise there at all. Nigeria has a huge community here. About, as at the last count, when the mayor told us, we are over 300,000 here in Houston. So and all that, most of that numbers actually went to Biden.
And if I may quickly jump in to corroborate most of the things you said, the thing is that cities, large urban populations, they usually trend blue, rural areas and people with less education, they usually trend red. What's been going on? Actually, I think that the Democrats did really well in Texas. Texas has been trending blue for a while. When there was that senatorial election 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
Ted Cruz and the former presidential candidate, what's his name now? Texas is a work in progress. It may take a number of years to get there, but Democrats have enough reasons to be happy because lots of people are migrating to Texas. That's exactly what happened in Georgia. Georgia used to be a Republican stronghold. And, during the last governorship election 2 years ago,
how close
it was close, and the only difference was 50,000 votes.
Yes.
This was convinced, especially Tracy, what's her name? The person who lost.
Tracy Abraham.
And she was able to convince Biden, say, don't joke with Georgia. In fact, everything now seems to rest upon Georgia because if the Democrats are going to lead the Senate, they must win the two senatorial seats in Georgia. I'm glad that they didn't joke with it. You see that red, if the Democrats play this very well, a lot of red states gradually trend blue. It's not that it cannot become blue. After all, Bill Clinton won a lot of these states when he vied for presidency. It's just policies. Of course, I know those strong people who are born. My great-grandfather and my father are Republicans. I will always be a Republican. Whoever may be the Republican candidate, that will never go away. The same thing exists on the other side as well. There are people.
Believe me, I'm a Republican too. Believe it or not.
All right. Yeah, I can live with that. I can live with you as a Republican. Who supports
Trump. So, Brian, you're a Republican. Are you a Trumpist too?
I don't want to use the word on TV, but absolutely not. Absolutely.
I can live with that. I followed the Lincoln
ideology.
Yeah, Lincoln Project.
Lincoln Project. Yeah.
These were Republicans. In fact, Senator McCain's wife was a member of the Biden campaign team.
Absolutely. She is the one that actually won Arizona for the state of Joe Biden. There's no doubt.
Yeah, it's one thing to be Republican. There is nothing wrong with the Republican ideology. No ideology is better than the other. What's wrong is when you have an open racist.
When you have a bully, when you have a president of Trump in the office.
When you have someone like that, and this is a moral issue. It's really not even a political issue. Trump is a moral challenge for every person who has conscience.
And for a country like America.
Let me go to the issue of the Senate. So we know when Trump was he's still president. Don't say when he was president. Still the president of the United States. He had a rough ride with Nancy Pelosi and the Congress and whatever, but Senate was always backing him up. What happens in an instance where the Senate obviously gets back to the Republicans? They have control of the Senate, and you have Biden there, and obviously with the influence of Donald Trump still probably over and around the Republicans anyway. Don't forget he had over 70 million people voting for him. So how would that work? Are we going to see a repeat of what happened between Trump and Nancy Pelosi? Will he be repeating himself with Biden and the Senate?
I
Well,
mean,
you
go
go.
ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I'll just say a few things. Trump locked down the Republican Party. With him out of the stage, some people will begin to speak up. Some people will begin to feel free to vote their conscience. So I don't believe, even Mitch McConnell used to be a deal maker in the Senate for years. He made all kinds of deals with Biden. And even though some of those deals were made at the last minute, they were always making deals. I
Yeah, agree.
believe a lot of deals will be made because Trump has this army that were threatening people. They actually threatened two senators out of the place in Tennessee and also in Arizona. Senators who said, you know what, I'm not contesting again. I'm done. I'm through. I just can't support Trump. People are going after me. I do believe there is an opportunity, especially because what people are talking about today is unity. People expect if Mitch McConnell fails to work with Biden, they are going to lose badly during the next midterm election. If Biden fails to work with the Senate, I think a lot of Americans willingly voted for a Biden presidency and some kind of check in power in Congress. Because if you look at the Democrats didn't do really too well in Congress. In the Senate, it was supposed to be a landslide. There was
Yes.
supposed to be a blue wave. All of that didn't happen. And I believe because Americans selectively decided who they wanted to be where. They didn't want to just give Biden a free reign. Maybe it's going to be beneficial for America. Although I would have loved to have a clean sweep of power so that all kinds of new laws can be made. But I think we should expect some good deals to be made between the Congress and the presidency.
I mean, you said it right there. Who would think that Mitch McConnell will be back in the office? I mean, with the fact that he came on air so openly and practically begging for money to be able to like compete with the Democratic candidates in that election, but he still went ahead and won, and not just win, he won by 52%, which means some Republican, like I said, some traditional Republicans still believe he is the man. Like he's a lifelong politician, but they still believe in him. They still believe in his ideology. And like Mr. Tunde said, most Republicans during Trump era actually became so hypocritical that they couldn't even say the truth anymore. You know, some are shy away from it. Like he said, just only two of them were able to speak up. I mean, their speaking up ended their career because they know how powerful the president is as at that time and even up till now. So, and those guys, they were ready to retire and they left. So I think Biden have a lot of work to do. And the fact that he is fully aware of that and he's already preaching it, as soon as he sees that he's already ahead in the election, they already start talking about it, that we need to unite. We need to unite. A lot of Americans thought in their head that Barack Obama did a lot of division in America, which, I mean, I did not see anything like that. But with Trump, 3 years and 9 months or 10 months, we also what definition of divide is. The country is so bad right now that you need somebody to bring together everybody. And then the fact that at the moment, the Senate seat is 48-48, and hopefully Georgia will give the 2 tickets to Democrats so they can have upper hand in both Senate and the Congress, and maybe something can happen. But if it doesn't happen still, I believe Republicans will work with Biden. Biden is almost a century-long politician. For 50 years plus is a long time. So I believe he's going to do very well, bringing them together and getting things done. Immigration is very crucial. Environment. I mean, so many things that the current president did not think about before deciding on. Just anything that has Barack Obama's name on it, he doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to think about it. Just knock it off. Now we'll probably start thinking with much more common sense, with deeper thought before actually getting a result and going for something. So we are all hoping for the best and the fresh air. I mean, I'm telling you, since yesterday when I got off work, and I got out, and it was even announced in my the public address system at work that we have a new president in America. Even we are all breathing differently. We all have, I don't know how you feel, bro, but every one of us here
Sigh of relief.
so different. Like I don't know why it is so, but thank God. That's all I can say.
Is it possible for Trump to probably bounce back in 2024? People are already saying maybe he might have a chance to run again in 2024. Is this possible? If it's possible, do you two see a situation where Trump will probably come back in 2024 against whoever the Democrats are going to put forward, and Trump becoming again, coming up with another slogan? I don't know what this is going to be this time, and probably become the president of the United States again in 2024. Is that ever possible? Tunde, you said nothing is impossible. You mentioned that. So is it possible we might see Trump again in 2024?
Well, in terms of my general philosophy about possibilities, yes, it is possible. That's my answer to you. Is it likely? No, it's not likely. The American politics doesn't give you a lot of time. Once you have your moment and you lose it, just go away. That is the lesson we must learn from Hillary. Hillary could have contested again. Or what stopped Mitt Romney from contesting again? What stopped John Kerry from contesting again? And you see, once you lose that moment, especially for someone who has been president, I don't think Trump is going to come back, but Trump is going to be still relevant. Trump is not going away. Actually, there is an article now in the magazine, The Atlantic, that Trump is going to campaign forever. When I listened to Trump's speech the other day, what I got from it is different from what most people's readings were. What I got was Trump is trying to set himself up to build that excuse that I didn't really lose. And in fact, the election was quite good for us. We were able to keep the Senate. We were able to have more House of Reps members. We were able to do this and do that. So I didn't really fail. I'm not a loser. And some people are already saying that Trump is going to start a media powerhouse. Is going to start a TV station. I heard some people at Fox News saying that they would welcome the competition. He's already pissed off with Fox because they called Biden sooner than any other station would. I do believe that Trump is going to be in perpetual campaign. I don't believe Trump is going to try to come back by himself, but he's trying to bring one of his offspring in, whether it's his son or his daughter, most likely Ivanka. He will try to pop her. He lost nepotism. He knows that his son is not that good, but he would think that Ivanka can do it. But
what about Jared?
Let's not forget.
Jared Kushner?
Yeah, Jared too, possible. But let's not forget, all of them are likely going to be tried for crime.
Finally, your thoughts about that?
Whatever I'm going to add might just not be as strong as he has already said. Possible, yes, but I don't think it's going to happen anyway. I've been hearing it also that Trump might come up. That's the way it is. Once your momentum is lost, that's it. Forget about it. But how about you creating something, which is the direction I was also thinking about? I actually believe he's going to be relevant, be very, very relevant, because his followership is huge. I mean, somebody that has almost 70 million votes, even with all the hate, with all the, you know that he definitely has a base. And that was why he was so sure that that election was going to be him. So he's going to remain in the game. But what's going to happen with all the trials that are coming after him, those tax issues, the China issues, all of it, they are all going to come up. I mean, we're already aware that the Secret Service already raised a special counsel for his input in making the White House a campaign center, something that no president has ever done. You know, he did it, and he might pay for it if there's definitely proof for it. We all know that there's proof for it. That's where some of those that's why he actually got the COVID-19 pandemic himself. So there will be a lot of issues for him after the election. Now it is his wife that is practically begging him to concede the election, Because as at the moment, the electoral vote for Biden is 290, while he's still stuck at 214. So how are you going to catch up? Why is he still so adamant? Why is he so stubborn? And just, but that's Trump being Trump. Even his friend in Israel already congratulated Biden and already thanked him. And every other world leaders have already said, Joe Biden, congratulations, looking forward to work with you. He has not done anything. So it tells you the kind of person he is, and that is how Trump Republicans are. And that's a problem in the Republican Party itself. Another party coming up, I don't think so. But there will be the Republican Party from here on, absolutely. There will be Trump Republican Party, and there will be the Republican Party, which is, like Bro Tunde said, more or less dead now. What you have now is Trump Republican Party. So the Republican Party itself have to really go back in there and try to find somebody new to represent them. Marco Rubio is trying to be a Trumpist himself. We've already seen from his rhetoric in the last few days that people can already figure out that he's trying to come up, trying to be as controversial as Trump. He's definitely not. He doesn't have the balls that Trump has. Trump doesn't give a hook about nobody. If you attack him one time, he will come to you 5, 6, 7, even 10 times back at you. He doesn't regret anything he says. So Marco Rubio might not be as strong as he is, but definitely Trump will still be here for a while.
Wow. Okay, that's been very educative. I was thinking when you were talking about there'll be old Republicans, the GOP as they say, and there'll be the new one. And my mind just went quickly to the back in the Jonathan days, PDP and the new PDP, APC and the new APC. So we don't know how that's going to pan out. But guys, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Today, special thanks to you. We dragged you on short notice to come and join us on the show. And by the way, I know it's been very busy for you today, but you've taken time to come and join on the show. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. By the way, I am seeing you tomorrow, 8 o'clock for our new show.
So, I'm going to talk my own constituent, which is football.
Which is football. We'll be talking about that.
I would love to connect with Mr. Tunde right there. Please let him know I would love to connect. So we
definitely. I would.
I hope you're not an Arsenal fan. I'm an Arsenal fan, and we're getting whipped right now by Aston Villa.
By Aston Villa, yeah, you lost 3-0. So make sure today you watch the show tomorrow. We're talking a lot about you guys tomorrow about Arsenal. So
absolutely, we will.
I will. It's been nice.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on the show. We really appreciate you.
All right,
thank you. Have a nice week. Yes, that's the show for today. I mean, we've heard so much about the man Trump and about the man Biden. It's quite an interesting chat we had today with Chris Tunde Odediran from all the way in New Jersey in the United States, and obviously Bayale Arashi joined us towards the end of the show from Texas, and it's been really wonderful, thoroughly educating, thoroughly informative as well. Many thanks to everyone that's made comments on the show today. I'm really sorry we couldn't take all your comments on the show because I'm sure you'll have learned a thing or two about what we discussed on today. It's about the US election. I mean, so exciting it was. Quite a lot of us didn't actually sleep through the past week because we're looking at the way it was swinging. At one time it will be all red, before you know it, Biden catching up, and it's all blues. Very interesting. Very interesting, and obviously we're already looking forward to 2024. We hope it's going to be as interesting as this also. So thank you everyone that's made the comments today. We really appreciate you. Thank you for your comments. It's another week. Please be safe. Go out there, enjoy yourself. We're still in lockdown in England, by the way. So. Or whatever you do, be safe. But if you can, tomorrow, Monday the 9th of November at 8 p.m. UK time, we will be starting the football show. Football show will be looking at everything football, everywhere in the world. Okay, we'll be chatting to joining me tomorrow on the show will be Bayale Arashi all the way from Houston, Texas, will be my co-presenter, my guest on the show regularly, and we'll be talking about football. Please mark that down on your diary. It's 8 p.m. UK time, the football show. So that's me done for today. Whatever you do this week, please make sure you stay safe. It's the Way Show. Make sure you subscribe to us. And hopefully next Sunday, we'll be bringing you very interesting personalities. And we're talking about something obviously more interesting than what we've had today. Special thanks to my producer, the one behind the scene, Yomi, making sure that I've come to you today. And obviously, we've been able to contact and bring to you our guests. Thank you so much, Yomi, and do have a wonderful week ahead. And like I always say, please stay safe. Thank you.